Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's a podcast where we talk about growing up and living queer, nerdy, and depressed online and at the cinema. From the kids who are all really excited to see a tumbleweed in real life for the first time, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Maddie.
I'm Helena.
And I'm Ezra.
And this week, episode 13, we're talking about westerns.
I wish I could do like the kind of whistle soundtrack
yeah.
they usually do. Yeah.
Somebody needed a whistle? I got you.
Thank you.
I'm your guy.
Just constantly playing in the background.
My problem is that every time I start trying to whistle like generic Western music, for some reason it just turns into the fucking Star Wars music.
Oh, good.
I don't know why, and then I get the fucking thing where somebody put lyrics to the Star Wars theme, and so my brain just started doing the kiss a Wookiee, kick a droid. I'm like, why is this happening?
So, I just don't know what to say to that except,
I'm sorry.
I'm trying to recover from that, yeah.
God, okay, I have to transition somehow into something. Do we want to talk about what we've seen since last time?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to chill.
Let's slam directly into the
what we've seen, or what is it?
No, I like that because then I don't have to be forcibly reminded of Glee every single time he's doing it.
Yeah, and I don't have to sing the Glee theme every fucking time. It was fun while it lasted.
I've been outvoted.
R.I.P.
This is fine.
R.I.P.
What
the Sneople.
we've seen. It's Wheel of Fortune instead.
Not what
it is.
Listeners, please know that this is not labeled what we've seen, as in the contraction. It just says what we seen.
Yeah, I spelled wrong. I'm sorry.
Because it's Welcome to the Wild
apologize.
West. Organized grammar doesn't exist.
That's right.
There you go.
What we've been seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. Not a lot this week. We didn't see a lot. My dad and my stepmom, neither of them had ever seen the Fellowship Extended Editions, and my stepmom hadn't seen it since she saw Lord of the Rings in theaters. So I was like, hello, parents. It's my birthday. I get to do what I want. Oh god, I forgot a fucking movie. Sorry.
Sneaking
I made
into the door like Tom and that Tom and Jerry meme.
Literally me, but it's me holding the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition.
Yep.
So I made them watch that with me. We're gonna watch Two Towers because they had a great time.
Okay.
Yay.
I saw Cast a Deadly Spell, which is from 1991, which Johnny recommended, and it's like a magic noir movie, which is like absolutely my shit. Good time. Weird moment of homophobia in like literally one scene.
I haven't heard of this. Cast a Deadly
Spell. It has like great cast.
Not Cast a Deadly Spell, which is what I just said.
God, I wish. No, it's Cast a Deadly Spell.
Okay.
It's extremely noir, but it's also we do magic now. It's 1950 whatever, and we've been doing magic, and it's great.
David Warner.
Yeah, really fun. And then
cool.
On my birthday, we saw 5 minutes of the first Twilight movie, and then I was like, I can't watch this anymore. And then we watched half an hour of Baywatch, and I was like, we were all like, we're bored. And then we watched Spirit, and we watched all of it, and it was great. You know, the animated movie where Matt Damon's a horse. Yeah, it's good. Actually,
That's Matt Damon?
It's Matt Damon as the horse.
Okay, so the thing about that Spirit is that it came out it was one of the very first, sort of animated movies for kids that came out, and my reaction was, I'm too old for that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I've never seen it, yeah.
You missed out.
Specifically, that movie was weirdly my cutoff for those kind of movies when I was a kid.
Maybe because Matt Damon plays a horse in it.
That horse sure is. Now I'm just imagining everything that happens in The Martian, but it's the horse from Spirit.
You know who else is in it?
Oh god,
James Cromwell.
Are you fucking with me right now?
No, he's second
Who
bill.
does James Cromwell play? Is he the bad guy?
Is the bad guy the colonel?
Are they all horses or are there people in this movie?
No, there are also people. It's about Western expansion.
Okay. Okay.
Great.
Interesting.
It's about how Western expansion is bad.
Yeah.
And, like,
Cool.
native people good. Yeah. It's great. Anyway,
James
and then we
Cromwell's
also
in it.
I went to go see with some of the other IB folks, we went to go see Spider-Man Far From Home. And it fucking ruled. And as somebody who's had a crush on Jake Gyllenhaal since I was, like, 15, I am the most valid person on the planet right now. So
God, he looked so good in that movie.
everybody's been talking about Jake Gyllenhaal on my timeline, and I'm like, yeah, bitch, welcome to my world. I had someone tell me the other day, they're like, I keep seeing him on my timeline every time I think of you. And I was like, thank you. This was worth it. So, that's what I saw.
I also saw Far From Home a couple days ago by myself.
Oh, babe.
You know, I do that a lot, and it's fine. But I saw it by myself, and that was fun. There was a fun Billy Elliot shout out in that movie that I really appreciated and shared on my TL, which is just like
What
the
was that
most
again?
random. Okay, so this is not a spoiler for people who haven't seen it. There's a scene where Peter is in a bar in Europe and he's drinking lemonade with Jake Gyllenhaal, and there's a song playing in the background, like at the bar, and it's the song is A Town Called Malice by The Jam, which is it's used in the movie Billy Elliot during like a big like dance montage, and Tom Holland, of course, was he like played Billy Elliot.
Yeah, he played Billy Elliot on the West End for a while.
It was like so brief. It was like 15 seconds of me like recognizing this song and being like, and having absolutely nobody to share it with. Just being like, having to live with the fact that I was able to make that connection in the span of 15 seconds and hating myself and also being proud of myself. So yeah, saw that. I saw Sweet Smell of Success, which was a kind of like journalism noir from the 50s that was really brutal. Everybody was mean and awful to each other. And there's a lot of really cool jazz music in it, and it was really good. Tony Curtis and Burt Lancaster were in it. Yeah, it was very good. And I also saw last night, I watched the Suspiria remake. Whew. Yeah, that happened. That movie is... I knew going into it that movie was 2.5 hours long, and I still started it at 8, being like, this is fine, knowing I had to get up at, like, 5:30 in the morning the next day, and this was also knowing that this was a probably pretty brutal horror movie.
Good lord, Helena.
So, I had a good night of, like, no sleep last night, because I watched this movie, enjoyed it, had a good time, and then was like, ah, yes, my friend's house where I was house sitting is populated with witches. How wonderful.
Jeez.
So that is my
I don't know anything about that movie, but you've got me interested now, I will say.
Well, I would highly recommend the original as well, for sure. They're very, very different, but the original is super dope. And this one was also dope, except then this one had Tilda Swinton and Dakota Johnson in it. And Dakota Johnson can act! Who knew? I guess some people did, so good for her. Yeah. And Tilda Swinton played like 3 characters, which she like does in every single movies that she's in now, apparently. It's like in her contract. She has to play at least like 2 other people. Yeah, that's what I've seen.
So I got 2 new roommates, and therefore the last like week of my life has basically been the filming of Apocalypse Now. So I had to like, I kept getting booted out of my house, my like apartment, so they could like paint it and shit. And so I've had, like, zero free time, but also, weirdly, too much free time. So I went to go see Men in Black International by myself in the middle of the day on a Monday. There were, like, 4 other people in the theater. It was hilarious. I walked in and I was like, alright, cool. Wow. I feel like a very specific brand of loser right now. But so, I had fun. The weird thing, I've never seen any of the original Men in Black movies. They're sort of, that's like a 90s cultural touchstone that I just, like, zoomed right past for some reason. I vaguely knew what they were about, and I was like, well, Tessa Thompson is hot. I need something to do in the middle of the day. Sign me up. And I had a good time. My fucking hot take about Men in Black International is that they should have found a way to swap Emma Thompson and Liam Neeson's parts in that movie.
So that she was in it more?
So that she was in it more, and
also like, fuck Emma Thompson.
Yeah, mostly because Emma Thompson is actually just my ideal woman.
Yeah, okay, so about that, Ezra, one of the trailers they played before Spider-Man Far From Home was the Men in Black trailer, which I hadn't really seen this version of, and it has that scene where they're, like, putting Emma Thompson in her suit or something, and she's, like, vaguely flirting with Emma Thompson in it, and she's like, it looks good on you or whatever, and I was like...
Yeah,
and I had to take off my glasses.
Harold?
Tessa Thompson, like, definitely flirts with Emma Thompson, who is just like, if you were ever wondering what you're like, if you were ever like, wow, why is Silver Fox like only a term for dudes? It's not. Emma Thompson has short gray hair right now, and I'm dead. Oh, and also, I would like to publicly drag the Regal Cinema in Bellingham, Washington, for telling me that I was going to be able to go see Late Night on the 4th, and then being like, actually, we're not showing it anymore. And I was like, I hate 4th of July, and I want to get... So I didn't get to see it. I was going to go see it to get away from the fireworks, but...
Oh, see, that's what I saw. I saw Far From Home on 4th of July. Try and do that too. It didn't work very well, but
valiant effort was made. Anyway, so
yes.
Tessa Thompson is hot. I guess Chris Hemsworth is he just doesn't do it for me. My type is like women, non-binary people, and weird looking dudes, and he's just too classically attractive for me to find interesting.
Mostly a mood, except I've never been attracted to him before until that trailer dropped.
Okay, so that's fair.
I feel like...
Well, he's he has, I will say, he has something of the himbo about him, which is fairly appealing.
Okay.
So Westerns are...
I guess the big question I have is, like, why... Maddie, you were the one who suggested we record an episode about Westerns. What inspired you to start that?
I'm sorry, you have to give me a second, because right now my brain is just in, like, idiot mode, and I have to try and pull my shit back together.
Okay.
So if one of you guys wants to talk about what you like about Westerns first, I would love that, because I'm just kind of ape escape right now. So
no, that is so fair. I am. This is kind of a silly little thing, but I always like to joke that I like intimate, talky movies and quiet movies where there's a lot of shots of, like, people looking very small against striking landscapes, and often Westerns just deliver. And so that's just, like, a weird petty thing where I'm just like, I'm like a weird gremlin who loves those kind of, like, shots in movies, and Westerns are like, here, my child.
It's that
like, good.
All Westerns and Lawrence of Arabia are the two.
Yeah, exactly. It's all Westerns in every movie Peter Weir has ever made.
Oh, yeah, true.
Shout out to my guy, Peter Weir. There's a lot of kind of... I mean, Westerns are very tropey in a way that I find satisfying. Because there's a lot of... your average Western is likely to have at least a handful of sort of like of things from like the Western trope list, many of which are things that I just enjoy. We were joking earlier about basically we just went on a fest about how much we love Carl Urban as Bones in the new Star Trek movies, and also just how much we love Leonard McCoy, like, generally. And I was joking that, like, almost every Western has, like, there's an irascible doctor, like, all the time. And I'm like, that's, like, my favorite character type. I love all of them. And so sometimes Westerns are just like, hey, you want some just, like, random irascible doctor content that you can fucking fixate on? And I'm like, you bet I do.
Why, thank you. I love it.
I will treasure it forever. And also, this is another weird thing. You know what? Sometimes it is just nice to have a goddamn break from movies that are set in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the one thing that I know I'm not going to have to deal with is people being snotty about New York City when I'm watching a goddamn Western.
Mm-hmm.
Bold of you to suggest that you can't set a Western in New York City. I don't know if you can.
You absolutely, come on. They're like, fucking urban canyons. You can. It would be hard, but you could do it. But there's something about, and you know, sometimes there's a reason that Westerns have been kind of, like, popcorn art for 150 years, you know, like, basically we started mythologizing westward expansion as soon as we started doing it.
In a very unhealthy way.
Oh yeah, in a very unhealthy way, and in a way that was in a very violent way. That's definitely true. But, like, sort of Westerns have been kind of the go-to easy reading, easy watching kind of storytelling setup for as long as white people have been encroaching on the West.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes there's a million of them, and sometimes they're kind of like the film equivalent of just, like, eating a snack.
Yeah.
I think
especially
a lot
of the
them...
early ones. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Maddie.
Oh, no, you're okay. That is definitely a good point to make. That we see a lot of divergence in Westerns, which we'll get to later. I don't need to get into it too deeply right now. In, like, the 70s, where you start to see there's a shift in the formula a little bit. Mm-hmm. People start, like, making parodies of it or taking twists on it, things like that. I wonder if part of the reason is because it's so easy to follow a formula which people will love, which is kind of like the Westerns have their own specific kind of hero's journey.
Yeah, that's definitely
and, like,
true.
people love that stuff. That is, like, psychologically proven that, like, you give people a hero's journey and they will like it, probably.
Yeah, well, and people specifically will love that kind of hero's journey, whether it ends in success or failure. Like, both are equally pleasurable to watch.
Yeah, right, and there's something about that in the fact that, you know, we were talking about how the Western is a uniquely American genre in the sense that it was invented as a way of mythologizing our own, like, present, like, circumstances and also our current history. But it's also, like, very much, especially the earlier ones, which weren't trying to play with any tropes, but are playing it very straight. We're all very much about that kind of individual and the power of the individual and American individualism having that one hero rather than collectivism, which is, I think, you know, people would associate more during the 1950s, especially with, like, communism and socialism. And I think that that's also part of the reason why, especially during that time, it was so successful, because it was, like, everywhere. It was television. It was, you were talking about the you know, the pulp novels, you know, dime store novels, and you know, theater, and then film. And so it's just kind of been everywhere forever.
Yep.
I mean, when you talk about, like, kids playing games in old media, what is the first thing that comes up is they're playing cowboys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, that's so... It is the West, as in capital T, capital W, the romantic West is, I think, maybe you just said this, but the phrase of, like, the West is the American fairy tale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is captured imaginations in a way that not much else that is specifically a U.S. genre has.
Yeah, this is the setting of American myth.
Mm-hmm.
And we need there needs to be a better word that specifies United States, Ian, but that is horrible and clunky and awful.
Yeah, I agree.
So please know that that's what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a complicated genre.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But I feel like I haven't really seen... Well, maybe that's not true. I feel like I wrote on here, like, when Blazing Saddles came out, I don't know if I've seen a lot of... I feel like the number of Westerns that play it straight, in terms of, like, not examining their tropes, kind of went down a little bit. Blazing Saddles is not the first one to do it, but it was certainly, like, well...
it is pretty hard to make a traditional Western after Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
I will say something interesting that I've noticed, and this is a little bit off topic from film. So films moved away from that a lot. Video games also have definitely, like, taken a lot of time spending a lot of critically examining, like, the West. I'm thinking specifically of, like, Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
And Red Dead Redemption 2, which I've played a lot of. Books haven't.
Interesting.
Books have not, because I spent a lot of time trying to find, like, weird Westerns specifically, so Westerns that have some kind of, like, fantastical element, and every single fucking time, it's like, there's racism, there's misogyny, there's, like, this, that, and it's like, every time I'm like, well, I can't fucking read this book. This is
like,
awful. So, like, the dime store Western novels, those mysteries, haven't changed that much. I mean, they have some modern sensibilities, you know, but a lot of time, if they're set in, like, the classic West, they still fucking suck.
You'd have to look, I think, in the more, there are, like, literary, quote unquote, whatever that means, like, books that are set in the West. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to, like, dime store, like, traditional
literary
like, genre
fiction,
novels.
rather than,
Like, I'm thinking
fiction.
of, like, Whiskey When We're Dry by John Larison, I think. Is the name of the author that came out recently, which is, like, a Western. It's kind of, like, a True Grit kind of feel, and it's about a young girl, in, you know, in the Wild West or whatever. Not the Wild West, but the West. And so I feel like maybe not so much in that traditional venue for it. It hasn't really changed. I don't know. I never see a lot of newer ones.
Yeah, genre fiction, they happen. They out here. They're just not, like literary fiction, like you say, like, that has started to take new approaches to it, but classic, like, genre fiction, like, Western as a genre and genre fiction approaches to Westerns, they feel like unless they have those things, they cannot be taken seriously as a Western story, which is such a frustrating part of the genre. And I'm like, this is not... You can do a good... I complained about this to friend of the show, Leia, a lot, where I'm like... She's, like, helping me on my quest to find a weird Western that doesn't fucking do this. Because it is honestly the worst.
It's hard, and it's, like... that is so weird that's, like, as other forms of genre fiction start to have gotten better about interrogating their shittier tropes... For some reason, Westerns are just like, what if we just didn't have to do that?
Mm-hmm.
What about Preacher? Does that count? I mean, I don't know if it subverts anything at all. That just came to mind.
You know, I genuinely haven't actually watched enough of Preacher to make a judgment on that one. I like Preacher, but sometimes it was just, like, too much.
I haven't actually seen it or read the original graphic novels. So
I haven't read the graphic novels either.
Hello, it's my time now.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I think Maddie's the resident Preacher buff.
I didn't read the graphic novel because I don't like the art style, and I'm just gonna.
That's fair.
Stand by that.
Hey, that's legit.
I was actually, when I was thinking about shows that, like, have a Western feel, like when we were talking about, like, what quote unquote makes a Western, how do we define Westerns as a genre? I was like, does Preacher count? And I think that is something that we could use that to move into the discussion about what makes a Western. You know, is it the kind of filmography? Because if so, then I would say Preacher fits. Is it the kind of journey? I don't know if that necessarily applies anymore because so many people have taken different takes on the Western journey. Is it the setting? Is it the morals? Is it the protagonists? Is it like what defines a Western? And I don't know. I think we should start the.
That's a big question.
I would call Preacher Western adjacent, but I'm not sure that I would label it as a Western. Does that make sense? I think it is
Western. Yes, I think it's Western inspired.
Yeah, that's a better word for it than adjacent. It is Western inspired, but it you know, weirdly enough, I feel like it is too. There's too much religion in it for it to be a Western, a real Western. Not that there's not religion in Westerns, but they're so. Religion is almost never like the central force in a Western. It's sort of one of the. It's part of the kind of like. If there's background like a push and pull, yeah. If there's a push and pull between, quote unquote, civilization and wilderness, like religion will exist as part of the force of civilization, but it's hard for me to imagine like something I would call a Western that has a priest as a protagonist. I'm not really sure why. That might just be like there's just a vibe difference there because I think I figured it out. The Western protagonist has to kind of necessarily be tugged back and forth between the forces of civilization and wilderness.
Yes.
And and somebody who's already committed to being a clergy person has like made that choice. And so unless they come to the West and then get put in the tug of war, like that could be that could make them a Western protagonist, but I don't feel like the characters in Preacher really fit that. It's very it's Americana, but it's not a Western.
Yes. I would also say part of it, so first of all, actually with you saying that, I would say Jesse becomes more of a standard Western because he is constantly going between his role he's taken on as a man of God and his old life as like a criminal and a murderer. He is struggling between the two sides. But I would also say when you bring in a person of faith as a central character, the conflict of Westerns, as you said, is like the song of the West versus like the structure of the East. I don't know, that wasn't a great phrase. I didn't like that very much. But like it's the quote unquote civilization versus quote unquote the wilderness. And then you bring in another central conflict, which is like man and God, or man versus God, or like man's morality and his faith. Like you start to bring in another conflict, which is not uncommon with characters that feature like a Christian preacher, and I think it's difficult to have those two conflicts coexist at the same time when they tend to have one or the other.
Yeah, it is hard to do both man versus nature and man versus God at the same time. In terms of the basic conflicts that I had to memorize for fucking like high school literature class.
Right, exactly. I know. In that moment, I became everybody's high school lit teacher.
Yep.
But also, I would say the other thing is like Preacher's primary genre is horror. Like that is the focus of what it is that it is like
that is
horror. And therefore, I would say its secondary genre is probably Western, but like its primary genre is just the focus of the story is like he's possessed by a demon angel baby and uses that to tell people what to do. This is what the plot of Preacher is a fucking about. That's what it's about.
So much.
Yeah, damn. Because my ex roommate watched it, and I was like, I kept like walking in and out of the room while she had it on and going like, huh, what the fuck's happening? And then going, actually, I can't just figure out what's happening just from watching 10 minutes of this.
No, you can't. There's so much going on in that show. It's interesting, but like, God, there's so many different fucking plot lines, and you're like, I don't know where I am right now. I just really want to see Dominic Cooper be sexy. That's all.
I did not have the brain power to deal with Preacher.
Yep. So anyway, beyond Preacher.
I mean, I was just when you were having that, I was just thinking about Justified too, in terms of that, because we were having a similar discussion. When I say we, I mean my parents and I, about whether Justified counted as a Western as well, because it's very much like a neo kind of crime thriller kind of thing. And I think the argument could be made, but it's like, it's very much about, especially in the later seasons, that sort of civilization versus wilderness for the hero, because it's about a character who is like sort of like pretending to be that kind of traditional cowboy figure, but he's been called, I think somebody somewhere on the Blue Hell site once said that like the whole point of his performance, of Timothy Olyphant's performance, is that he's like so like not hyper masculine, but like performative masculine, that he swings back around to feminine all the time. And he's like, this
becomes camp.
Yeah, exactly. And his character is someone who is like born to a family who did, you know, petty crimes, and he was like worked in the mines in Kentucky in like the, you know, the Ozarks practically, and got out of that, and then has to, at the beginning of the series, be dragged back into that, and to all of these old like friends who are now potentially rivals and everything like that. And it's like a constant battle, especially in the later seasons, between like, I want to start a family with this person, and I want to go away and be with my daughter, but also like all of this shit and all of this baggage that I have back home in Kentucky is like keeps pulling me back in, and it's, you know, whatever. So even if there isn't anything, and there is other stuff about it too that fits that bill, because like his chief, because he's a marshal, is like the traditional kind of like plays the irascible doctor character, or fills that role kind of. His rival is like literally like a man in black, like he dresses in all black like a traditional Western like anti-hero, anti-villain. So it is very much, but I know that there's been like discussions about whether or not it fits that. I love Justified. I just wanted to talk about it for like 2 seconds.
That's legit. We did in fact decide to do this podcast so that we could yell about shit we like.
That's true.
I think there are a lot of there's a lot of media that pulls from the Western tradition to a greater or lesser extent, but not all of it is a Western.
Right.
But then something like, for instance, fucking Logan, that's a Western.
Yeah.
Like,
you're right.
Oh,
it's also a road
Logan
trip
is a
movie.
Textbook Western. And I can't believe that I cried about the fucking Wolverine movie. And then my parents went to go see it, and they didn't care about it. They were like, yeah, we didn't really like it that much. And I was like trying to explain to my dad that I cared about it so much because I love my dad, and he just like didn't get it. And I was like, no.
My dad and I went to go see that, like, cried.
Yeah, well, I'm borrowing your dad on this one.
I cried on the couch. I didn't get to see it in theaters, but I did cry.
And that
I saw it twice.
You know, all these questions of, that is a big one that comes up in Westerns, which is in an uncertain world and an oppressive, untamed landscape, the idea of making your mark and wondering what your legacy is going to be, because you're so aware of how small and fragile even the most powerful people in your life are.
Yeah, absolutely.
In
the face of nature, you feel like you are not very much at all.
Yeah, and it almost makes people more kind of vicious about trying to one up one another, because they are so small in the face of the landscape.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of different, like, various readings of those classic westerns can come from, because it can be seen as, like, a celebration of, like, the, you know, individual American masculine hero, or it can be seen as, like, look at how much these people hate each other. Because that's kind of, like, why I've only seen one spaghetti western, and that was Once Upon a Time in the West, and I've only seen it one time, but I really liked it a lot, and I feel like that's part of it is there are all of these different men who are all, like, kind of horrible or, like, to various degrees of criminal in some way. And it was like, yes, look at how they're just trying to get a hold of this one piece of land, you know, and look at all of the things that they'll do to get it. And isn't this just fantastic? Isn't this the, you know, American dream or whatever?
Quote unquote, yeah.
There Will Be Blood, I'm just realizing, is technically kind of a Western in its own way.
Well, I mean, I was definitely going to say that the combo of No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood were kind of like, in some ways, kicked off the, like, highbrow revival of the Western. And so suddenly everybody was like, ooh, I can make, like, a hashtag serious movie that's a Western.
Right.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Also, my other thing is, this is me admitting that I have never seen There Will Be Blood or No Country for Old Men.
Same.
Helena, you know this about me. I have told you this before. I respect your gasping, but also please know that Helena has heard this piece of information before.
I don't remember it. I
interested.
don't give a shit about No Country for Old Men. Like, I actually don't like that movie very much. There Will Be Blood, though.
Oh,
so
I'm going
good.
to watch it and I'm going to love it. It's one of those movies that I want to pay it the attention it deserves. And that is part of why I have put it off.
Fair enough.
That's how I feel. I don't really want to see No Country for Old Men. I'm like, whatever, that's fine.
I might watch it eventually. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know what it is about that movie. It just didn't grab me.
Just for a little bit there.
I don't know. It just gives vibes about something that I'm like, I just don't know if I would enjoy this.
Every time I'm like, ooh, well, I could sit down and watch There Will Be Blood, or if I wanted to watch a Western that was going to take up, like, slightly less brain power, I could go watch the 3:10 to Yuma remake again.
You could do that,
God,
too.
I want to watch it so bad. I haven't
so
seen
good,
it
though.
yet.
3:10 to Yuma is really good, and also, guess what? It's pretty gay, and that's great.
Yeah, I know.
It's pretty fucking gay.
Also, Russell Crowe is in it, so you'll like it.
And Russell Crowe's in it, yeah. Okay,
And Russell
leave me
Crowe's
alone.
great
So,
in that movie.
it's on my Amazon watch list, okay? So, speaking of gays.
Hi, you rang.
Yes, hello, we're here.
I was thinking about this when we were writing the doc, that I was thinking about, like, the weird thing about Westerns and, like, male intimacy is they have so much of them, and they inherently have to, because it's, once again, it's, like, all male societies. Like, there's no fucking women there unless they are, like,
Prostitutes.
somebody's daughter or
Yeah.
right there, a sex worker.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Those are the only women that were at the West, and you're like, okay, fuck you. That's fine. So, yeah, there's men everywhere, and they have relationships and shit. But, like, it's very weird, because Westerns, on one hand, like, often full of toxic masculinity, and two, are, like, the, like, super US white man's, like, wet dream. Like, they're very, like, you know what men love, specifically, like, older men? Men love Westerns. And I think I figured out why, but mostly I just want to talk about, like, why do you think, like, how the duality of those two things coinciding together is just interesting to me.
Intricate rituals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little bit intricate rituals, I'm going to be real here.
I'm trying to think of what the first one of that was like. So here's my thing about Westerns is that it's not a genre that I feel particularly drawn to, so I haven't seen as much of them as I have other stuff. I just have, like, read a lot about them, and I've seen some handful of them, because, like, the first one that I'm thinking of that's like, what's the first, like, kind of fun one where, like, Western, where they're like, we're friends and it's good and we love each other, and I was like, oh, it's Butch Cassidy.
Butch Cassidy.
And it's
Let's talk about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
They're so cool.
They're so cool.
I just love Paul Newman so much.
God, I know. Just
I will die on this hill.
On today's episode of Rip Paul Newman, I miss you, and I still love your salad dressing.
Same.
I in fact ate something with Newman's own Caesar salad dressing in it like tonight. Pour one out for Paul Newman. Pour one out for Paul Newman being like the original omnidirectional looking at people like the sun shines out their asshole.
Yeah, seriously.
Because he did that to everybody and he did it for us.
He did it
to
for
homosexuals. Yeah, he did it for all the queers out here. And Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is really, 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 really important for a number of reasons. And it's also... I feel like it's one of... It just brings so much to the table in a way that, like, not necessarily... You know, you kind of... There was a pretty big chunk of time where you would kind of think of Westerns as being, like... They were B movies. I mean, there were a bazillion B movie Westerns, you know, that were just kind of like thinly plotted. And then Butch Cassidy is here to just like ruin your whole ass emotional life. And also to make you end up incredulously saying the fall will kill you at people.
Yeah. They were made because of spectacle too. I'm thinking like, you know, like the earliest, even like silent movies being like, right, train robbery kind of thing. Like, it was just like stunts, and like big spectacles and horses and people jumping off of horses and stagecoaches.
Like, hey, you know what's cool before car chases? It's stagecoach robberies and train train robberies.
Speaking of stagecoach,
horses.
Can I take this moment to briefly just diss John Wayne?
Oh,
absolutely!
You can take more than a brief moment.
I hate him.
Welcome to the Fuck John Wayne podcast, everybody.
So, if anybody out there hasn't heard the story about John Wayne and High Noon, we're about to talk about this one.
I have not. I'm real excited.
Let's go.
So, the movie High Noon came out in 1952. Ezra, do you know?
I don't 52. Know off the top of my head. I think it's 52.
52.
That
okay,
sounds
52.
Right.
So that movie was made at like the height of McCarthy era, like House of Un-American Activities thing, where everybody was like, there are people in Hollywood who were reporting on each other, including Elia Kazan, fuck Elia Kazan, and like getting people in Hollywood blacklisted, actors, writers, directors, that kind of thing. And people weren't able to work because they're like, you're a communist, I have no evidence. And they're like, I believe you, fuck off. And then they never work again. So High Noon was made, and that movie is kind of like, was kind of the first anti-Western Western, if you want to call it that, or the first like postmodern take on a Western, where there's a sheriff, he's trying to defend this is like a simplified version of the plot, he's trying to defend this town from these bandits who are about to like come and wreck the town. He tries to enlist the help and like get support from everybody else in the town because he can't defend it by himself, and they like promise to help him, and then at the end they kind of all desert him and he's left alone basically to defend the town, with the exception of his like ex and his new fiance, two women who come to his help, and it was kind of like a statement, or many saw it as like a statement of how people within the industry and all over the country were treating each other at the moment, and how everybody was reacting to paranoia and suspicion and abandoning each other in this kind of time of uncertainty in the Cold War era. John Wayne saw that movie and he was like, oh, is this about me? Because he had reported on people to the House of Un-Americans activities. I mean, John Wayne was a bad person beyond this. He's a kind of a notorious white supremacist and has some pretty shitty views about basically everything. But he saw High Noon and he was like, I don't agree with this political statement. So he made a movie in response to that, which I'm trying to remember. I think it is Rio Bravo. I'm doing a quick Wikipedia-ing to make sure that I am correct about that. Yes. So he made that, and it was like supposed to be the opposite reaction, like the opposite point of that, where he was, everybody's going to come to this person's aid and it's going to be great, and he's only allying himself with capable people and all of that stuff. So yada yada. I mean, he also made the Green Berets, which is a horrible like piece of shit bit of like pro Vietnam War propaganda.
Ugh.
I mean, he's just the fucking worst, man. He's just the fucking worst.
So
that's my story about John Wayne and High Noon, and how High Noon is good and John Wayne is bad. End scene.
Thank you for sharing. I didn't know about this. Fuck John Wayne.
Fuck John Wayne.
Fuck John Wayne. Fuck that airport named after him too, while we're at it.
Hey, yeah, what the fuck's that about?
What
I don't like that at all.
That's bullshit. Anyway.
Fuck Joseph McCarthy. I mean, I could name a few different names while we're at it.
Just fuck a lot of people.
Fuck Roy Cohn, obviously. Anyway, different tangent there. Yeah. Westerns.
So to get back to transition to the thing I was going to say earlier about Westerns, I had this revelation as I was writing the Google Doc, because I was like, why do men like Westerns so much when they're full of gayness? And I was like, wait a minute. And it's, I think, one of the like key little nuggets about Westerns, and some noir, not all noir, because some noir is just about like, we did a crime, we fucked up, we did another crime, oh shit, we've done so many crimes now, is like, the protagonist is a beacon of morality in the face of overwhelming immorality. So like everybody around you is like fucked up and doing crimes or like doing bad things and being evil, and you're like the only good person left, or good people left, or like you are the shield that stems the tide of like immoral behavior. But also a lot of these dudes are, like, not super nice. Like, some of them are just, like, kind of shitheads. A lot of them deal with alcohol abuse. Some of them are, like, kind of abusive themselves. Most of them are very emotionally terse. They're not, like, super communicative in any way. But they are still, like, quote-unquote good people. Even though they are, like... they're like anti-hero types, they're like complex characters, and I think a lot of, not to stereotype, I think it is easy for a lot of dudes to be like, oh, I see myself in that guy, or like, I want to be that guy, or it's like, I could be a good person even if I'm not like fucking nice, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're talking about now.
Yeah, and I wonder if that is part of it. I know for me, part of the reason I enjoy, like, cowboy westerns so much is, like, I take it as, like, you could be a good person even if you, like, struggle with things, or even if you're, like, you're not always super, you don't always say the right things, or you're not always super, you aren't very good at being, like, super friendly all the time. Like, you could still be good to people and do good things, which means I'm valid and men aren't.
Hell yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that I feel like they kind of were somewhat popular around the same time. I mean, the film noir kind of hero who's just like, yes, she walked into my door and she spilled herself into a red dress. It's like that line in the Johnny Gossamer novel. It's like, by the looks of it, she spilled some. Which is just where my mind was going.
Yeah.
But that's like a traditional kind of thing when it's like, I don't have emotions, especially about women, unless they're emotions about maybe I'd like to make love to her, but not have sex with her. And then she's like the villain.
Right.
That kind of thing. Or it's just like, I don't have any emotions, I'm very closed off, I'm whatever, which, hey, relate to that as a coping
I'm very
mechanism.
closed off, and people love me unconditionally anyway. Like, no one pushes me to change. Mm-hmm. They just love me that I'm like...
Or alternatively, like, everybody hates me, kind of.
Or everybody leaves me, and like, that is my role now, is I'm like the lone survivor, the lone, like, defender of humanity, and I must bear this burden on my own. Aren't I a tragic hero?
Was it? I feel like there was something.
We still haven't talked about if Mad Max is a Western.
Go for
want
it.
to talk about why Mad Max is a Western.
Why is it a Western? Maddie, go.
All three... Stop.
I'm kidding.
So all three of us were like, oh, Mad Max is definitely a Western. And Ben was also like, Mad Max is a Western. But, like, I don't know if we ever fully said... I guess we did. We said a bunch of things about why Mad Max is a Western. Here's the thing, is I know in my heart that Mad Max Fury Road specifically is a Western, and I'm not entirely sure why. Like, I guess part of it is a lot of the... I mean, I guess all the things with apocalypse movies in general is, like, it is the man versus wilderness. Like, it is us, and we are alone, and, like, the space around us is vast and never-ending, and we are mortal.
And also, we are forced to make moral decisions in a place where we don't have a strong social framework.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a big thing, is that the individual's choices, whether towards serving justice or serving their own self-interest, have a lot more weight when there's not as many checks and balances on the power of individual decisions.
Yeah. No, that's a very fair point.
That's something that is a hallmark of the Western, and it's and circling back to why Logan is a Western, instead of the lack of society, it's that society still can't control the agency of mutants the way that it can control the agency of non-superhero people. And so in that way, superheroes are kind of always living in a form of wilderness because they have so much more power. It means that their individual ethical decisions just have more weight no matter what.
It is literally great power comes great responsibility, not to be a corny asshole, but like...
No, but like,
that is exactly it, because...
That's a big thing about the Western, and that the idea that anybody can amass the kind of power that can give them... It's very easy to accumulate power over people, also, in a Western, and so... they often deal with the corrupting influence of having power over people. And Mad Max really leans into that.
Yeah.
What a good movie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's a fucking note on this Google Doc, and I just remembered for a second I couldn't remember who wrote it. It was me, where it just says, why was the rifleman so horny?
Oh yeah, we were talking about... So,
why was the rifleman like that?
An excerpt from the life of Maddie and Ezra. We both used to work at the same grocery store, and there was, before you and I both stopped taking our lunches in the break room, there was a TV, and for some reason it was always playing the Rifleman and like nothing else.
Yeah, like there was something about, for some reason, the both of us would take our lunches at the point where the Rifleman was on, like all the time. And the dad, are there any women in that? I don't think I'm not sure I ever saw. I feel like I only ever saw
I recall
one woman.
at least one.
Okay.
It varies from episode to episode. It's about a dad and his boy.
Yeah, the dad and his sons. The dad just is like, he's like never wearing a shirt.
No.
Like ever. He
is the Rifleman, right?
He just
yes.
He is the Rifleman. He's like...
He is 10 feet tall, and he is a quick draw.
No, that's Paul Bunyan.
Oh, sorry. Getting confused. Who's Johnny Appleseed, then?
Johnny Appleseed is his boyfriend.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
They're gonna ride off into the sunset on the giant blue cow.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Is it an ox? Is it a blue ox?
It's an ox.
Babe the Blue Ox. Yes.
Close enough. An ox is a kind of cow, right?
I guess.
I mean,
yeah.
related.
Yeah, they're all bovines in the end, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
sure, babe.
Yeah. So weirdly, like, also just like Westerns. I feel like
Westerns have always had a little bit of a pass to be just kind of horny. And I think that's why people like them.
As you say that, I am enlarging the text.
Yes. Oh God, I'm not reading that. You can.
One of the
can
horniest. I'm not going to say what I've written down here, but I am going to say that one of the horniest neo westerns I've ever seen is The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
And that movie is very horny.
Oh my goodness!
And I mean, there's something titillating about these kind of lawless landscapes, and also on a very basic level, you have an excuse to have lots of not necessarily super modestly dressed women because you decided that the only women who lived east of the Mississippi were sex workers. And then you have it carries over into just like, look, Westerns are kind of a horny genre. They just are. You know, everybody's live fast, die young, leave a sunburned and syphilis-ridden corpse. or tuberculosis-ridden corpse in the case of Tombstone, which we haven't talked about yet, but we're going to.
Tuberculosis-ridden corpse. I love him.
I'm gonna be watching it after we record this episode, and I'm so excited.
Maddie just goes, I have to open tomorrow, but I'm gonna watch Tombstone after we finish recording, and I genuinely don't care.
Yeah, I'm gonna live vlog it, so watch out.
Yes.
Yeah. Get hype, everybody, or get retroactively hype, I guess, because this episode isn't going out for a while.
Yeah,
could go back on the Twitter and find Maddie live blogging Tombstone. Yeah, they're and kind of and also much in the way that one of the attractions of the theater in an era when all the parts were played by men, some of whom were dressed as women, was the knowledge that that was two boys kissing. And that's like exciting in a slightly, taboo way. I think there's something. I think there is an undercurrent in they're part of it. There's the like, nostalgia for a hypothetical time when men were men or whatever the fuck. But there's also
men were men, except when they weren't.
I think there's also something that is slightly thrilling about the possibilities of an all-male society, or the permissiveness of a society in which female companionship is scarce. I think that's just there's sort of, whether spoken or the traditionally unspoken and maybe now not always unspoken acknowledgement that dudes were probably jerking each other off because they were bored and lonely when they were rustling cattle. I don't know. They were. Come on.
Or even like, this is something that it gets talked about a lot these days, where like a lot of the original cowboys were, first of all, the vast majority of them were people of color, so they were black or they were from Mexico most of the time.
They were black or Latino or mixed race, because they could just, the cows aren't gonna discriminate against you over your skin color or the language you speak. They're cows.
Yeah. And also a lot of them were gay because they could do just that. They could go fuck off with some cows for a while and be with your man, and like the cows weren't gonna give a shit.
You're like, yes, me and my buddy are gonna go on this cattle drive.
My guy,
my
next
guy
several
friend.
Months, yeah,
or just gonna see you in 8 months on the other side of the country with this herd of cattle who will not care, and we can make out whenever we want.
Right. Man, we haven't talked about Brokeback Mountain yet.
Well,
because I am too delicate still all these years later to talk too long about Brokeback Mountain.
I watched Brokeback Mountain for the first time. Heath Ledger died on a Tuesday. I watched Brokeback Mountain for the very first time on the Friday after he died. Because we had a half day from school, and we were like, was me and a bunch of my guy friends were like, okay, we're gonna rent 10 Things I Hate About You and Brokeback Mountain as a Heath Ledger tribute, and we decided to watch Brokeback Mountain first because we're idiots. And it was me
because
and like
10
four
Things I Hate About You
dudes crying about
you.
Brokeback Mountain.
The best movie kiss in history?
In history?
Yay?
Yay.
Nay? Yay.
You know, so this is like, maybe this is gay culture. The first time I ever watched Brokeback Mountain, I watched it, I had school the next day. This was in high school. I think I watched it, it was available on Netflix, but it had become, like, recently available on Netflix. Or did I, like, I don't know. I don't remember how I got it, but it was one of those things where it had come out recently, but not super recently. And I watched it under the covers, even though it was the dead of night, because I was like, nobody could come in and see me watch this. And then I cried, like, a lot. And then I read Fix It Fic, like, for, like, hours after that. There's this one really good fic I wish I could find again that basically was, like, they leave and they pretend that, like, one of them is the brother-in-law and, like, one of them is a widower or something, and, like, they raise one of the guy's, like, older daughters or something, and, like, it ends up being, it was really nice. But, hey, fucking smash the motherfucking like button if that was the mainstream gay representation you had, was Brokeback Mountain. And it fucked you up real bad before you were out of the closet, and you were like, man, I guess everybody's getting this fucked up about this, huh? And then, no, they weren't.
Nope, they weren't. Because I still remember...
People made fun of it.
I've only ever seen that movie
which I still can't
one
understand.
time.
Yeah, I think I've seen it maybe twice, and it has left such an impact on me.
I've only ever watched it once, and I am sitting on my bed, like, and I can feel the emotional solar plexus punch of the reveal of the two shirts hung up on the same hanger.
I was just sobbing. I could feel it too. I'm
about to cry. I am about to cry just thinking about this movie that I saw for the first time like 12 or 13 years ago.
Yeah. Did we all watch this movie sitting on our bed?
No, I watched it in my friend's. No. I watched it in my friend's basement with a couple of other people. And this was before me or my best friend from high school came out.
See, I saw it for the first time 4 years ago, and I was definitely sitting on my bed when I watched it and when I cried over Brokeback
I was like
Mountain,
spiritually sitting on my bed, but like just
yeah,
I get you. Yeah.
Oh man.
This is not. This can't. I mean, it could just turn into Brokeback Mountain cast, but I feel like that's such that particular experience of being like either out or closeted or being like. When you saw Brokeback Mountain for the first time as a like queer person, is something that is going to be very difficult to replicate. And I am like, let me not get it twisted. I am beyond grateful that there are so many more mainstream LGBT movies. Some of them are trash. Some of them are great. Whatever. But like, this was one of the movies we had. There weren't very many of them. That had gay people as a feature focus.
That were like mainstream, that like became viral in the way that Brokeback Mountain did. Because it was like, I mean, it was nominated for Best Picture. It should have won.
Yes, it should have. Still pissed that it didn't, but whatever. Fuck me, I guess.
You know.
Yeah, this was. I don't want to say it's the only one because I know that there were others, but like it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I wonder, sometimes I think about how there are younger queer folk right now who just won't never know how big of a deal it was.
Yeah.
I mean, Brokeback Mountain, fuck you.
I remember it being a big deal because for even up to, you know, us being older teenagers, any kind of LGBT content automatically gave something an R rating, and it was automatically like not appropriate for young teenagers, you know, and so you got to be 16, 17, you could get a hold of these kind of movies. And I feel like Brokeback Mountain was like, for a lot of people, it was the first one, and like you maybe had to wait until your parents would let you rent it because it was rated R.
Right.
Yeah.
Just I'm sort of just sitting here thinking about the fact that I didn't consider the possibility that I could be gay for such a long time because I regarded it as something that was restricted to adults.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was always rated R.
And they were always, it was always adults, too.
I feel like that's where a lot of that... whenever I am about to watch or preparing myself to watch a movie that's specifically about gay characters or featuring gay characters, like what I was talking about last week with Maurice, watching that for the first time, how there's still an impulse, even though, you know, my parents are fine with it, it's like there's still an impulse where like I have to watch this movie by myself, where I feel like this is an experience with Brokeback Mountain, with Maurice, with even Moonlight, which I saw with my parents, but it still felt like I needed to have a very private experience watching this. With Carol, with The Handmaiden, with a bunch of these movies where it's like I still feel the compulsion I have to be by myself when I'm watching this because it still feels like a very private experience. And I guess that's kind of carryover from that, you know, era, which again, like it's very, very good that we have like out and like amazing representation now in TV and movies and literature, especially YA literature, especially.
Yeah.
I'm so glad kids don't have to go through that anymore. Like, I'm so glad they don't have to feel like they have to, like, hide to watch these things. Like, I was hiding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad. I still feel like I have to, like, I can't watch these with my parents, because, like, it's, like...
Because it means something, you know that there's, like, it means something more to you. Like, the emotional reaction I had to several moments in Black Sails, for instance, felt different than the experience that people were having. And I had, you know... I don't want to be in the room with somebody making fun of, like, Jake Gyllenhaal saying, "I wish I knew how to quit you." It's that carryover of fear of, like, yes, that's very funny. Am I going to get, like, the shit kicked out of me now?
Yeah.
Or what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
Or just, even just the feeling where I started to feel like my parents just didn't care. They weren't interested. In and they weren't interested in, they were sort of baffled and put off by the intensity of my reactions to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And and I still feel like that. Like, I definitely still feel like I have to gloss over the depth of my responses to media that has to do with queer stuff. Because
you care about it too much.
I care too much, and then my parents are sort of sitting there and they just don't get it, and they're not interested in asking me why.
Yeah. I always worry like I'm gonna make my parents feel like uncomfortable.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
With the intensity of my gay emotion. Not that they will, because my folks obviously, like, I think they would get it. They're very supportive and, like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a very vulnerable thing. Like knowing that you're gonna have those kind of reactions that are sort of maybe that people are going to think that your reactions are disproportionate is like just a very vulnerable thing, and sometimes you're not in the mood to be that vulnerable.
Yeah. I watched The Handmaiden with Leo, and that was one of our first hangouts ever.
Oh wow.
Amazing.
And boy, that was a wild ride.
Wasn't it,
great
though?
movie. Brought us together closer as friends, and also the entire time both of us were like, we don't know each other super well. But I didn't feel as uncomfortable as I would have felt with other people, because, like, Leo was like, I'm gay, and I was like, alright.
Yeah.
Cool. We in this together.
I would feel comfortable watching The Handmaiden with other gays in the room.
Yeah. We both cried at the end, and both of us were like, man, that was so good. Like, you know.
Yeah. Whew. Westerns, eh?
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. I was thinking about, like, I definitely pick up on and respond really strongly to even, like, not necessarily explicitly queer stuff in Westerns, but, like, queer-coded stuff in Westerns. And I'm going to use this opportunity once again to plug a little movie called Appaloosa.
Yeah.
Which it stars Ed Harris and Viggo Mortensen and Renee Zellweger, and it's fucking great. It's just this funky little kind of unabashedly slightly weird, not like weird, but it's not. That movie doesn't, like, make any apologies for just kind of telling the story that it wants to tell. And it's these two... there's these two aging... They're not really cowboys, but gunslingers is probably a better word for them. Yeah,
They're
there's two
yeehaws,
aging sort of yeehaws. Who've just been... You know, they've been doing their bounty hunting, etc. thing together for a really long time, and they're just, like, so in tune with each other, it's almost weird. And the whole thing is that, like, Ed Harris's character is the talky one, but he, like, often can't come up with the exact word that he wants, and Viggo Mortensen is the silent one, but he always has the exact word that his buddy is thinking of.
Oh no.
It's perfect. And then Renee Zellweger's character is, you know, she's a little older, she's had some kind of ups and downs, but she, more than anything, she wants to, like, settle back down and be a respectable housewife again. And she falls for Ed Harris's character, but she kind of also falls for Viggo Mortensen's character, and she ends up kind of pursuing both of them.
Oh, good for her.
And the weird thing is there's a very, like, it gets unusually close to maybe the three of us should just fuck territory.
Nice.
Like, it really does. It has a very, very polyam vibe, and also just great performances. It's just this weird kind of, you know, it didn't get any, like, press or anything, but I really like it. It's one of my favorite Westerns.
I really do want to watch it.
And you should, yeah, and just, you should all check it out, because I think that it's sort of, it uses a lot of kind of Western-y tropes and stuff without being beholden to them. And that's my favorite kind of Western, is the ones that play exactly as fast and loose as they want with various things. Like, for instance, also comedy Westerns. Everybody go watch The Frisco Kid, because fucking Gene Wilder is, like, he's like the class disappointment from the yeshiva in the old country, and so they ship him to the States and are like, you're gonna go take over as the rabbi for this synagogue over in San Francisco, and he's just like a huge ditz and needs to get all the way from New York to San Francisco, and ends up traveling with young, fresh-faced straight man Harrison Ford.
Ugh.
And
Great.
they
Beautiful.
run through quite a number of classic fan fiction tropes on their way to San Francisco.
Literally, you could not recommend a movie more easily.
It is,
I know,
weirdly perfect.
That's like the dream team.
Yeah. And they
them.
play off of they play off of each other. Just, it is like fucking Olympic athletes. It's super dope. And hey, guess what? I have to announce that I am not allowed to talk about Hidalgo because it is a horse movie, but not a Western.
Which one?
Hidalgo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look.
Someday we'll do a
Sorry.
horse movie.
Someday we'll do a horse movie. I would like us to offer an explanation for the weird thing in our intro about us all being really excited to see a tumbleweed in real life.
So we determined that all three of us, Baby's first Western was An American Tail, Fightful Goes West.
Yeah.
AKA, all three of us were like, yes, my first experience with discussion of the immigrant experience was fucking An American Tail.
I legit, like, I remember where I was when I first saw a tumbleweed.
Dude, that I grew up going to visit my grandmother, may her memory be for a blessing, in Arizona, because that's where my dad grew up. And I shit you not, so there's actually like a tourist trappy like recreation of fucking Tombstone, Arizona, like the ghost town or whatever is there.
Yeah.
There
it's
is
there.
in fact an OK Corral. I went when I was like 8. I don't remember jack shit about it, but now that I am like have a deep and abiding soft spot for the 1992 classic Tombstone, I legitimately want to go back.
We just do a cosplay.
I'm like, let's just wear waistcoats and hats and get drunk in Tombstone, Arizona.
That is the plot of the Star Trek episode Spectre of the Gun. That's what happens.
Yeah, nope, it is. God damn it.
Well,
So, this episode, I'm sorry, I just, I
love you.
secret. I've been trying to find that Brokeback Mountain fic that I read forever ago so I can share it with you guys.
No,
Oh,
that's
thank
really
you.
important because you should also that's good because you'll be able to tweet
this is why you're the Schnauzel leader.
It's true.
Am I? This is regrettable if true.
I don't know. I think it's a rotating position.
It's a rotation. Whoever reads the intro and outro is the leader this week.
There you
jeez.
go. Yeah, this is democracy. Was there anything else
This
we
is
wanted
democracy.
to talk about?
No, I think we're running kind of long. So,
Let's ride off into the sunset on this one now.
yeah, I think so. Sorry. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneople at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake, or shoot us an email at sneopleatthemovies@gmail.com. Our amazing music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. Our super snazzy logo was designed by Bethany Luthold, and you can find her at bethanyluthold.wixsite.com. That is LEUTHOLD.WIX site.com. If you got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you think we absolutely need to see, or any creative insults for John Wayne, fuck John Wayne, come say hello.
Fuck John Wayne.
Fuck John Wayne. Also, if you can, please leave a review on iTunes and share the show with any friends who you think would enjoy it. Any way you can help us spread the news helps us a lot, and we really appreciate it. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.
Thank you.